Thank you everyone for joining me for another episode of Purple Reels is Watching. We're going to get right into what we discussed last episode was that we are changing it up a little bit. You got to shake it up. All independent filmmakers need their own spotlight or they need a platform to showcase their work. So that's what Purple Reels is here to do. Just got a few announcements first, and then we'll cut right to that interview. So in April, in the great city of Seattle, the Pacific Northwest, the Seattle Black Film Festival, formerly known as the Langston Hughes African American Film Festival. So it'll be presented virtually for the second year. The 18th edition of the Seattle Black Film Festival runs from April 16th through the 26th. And the festival passes are available and on sale now. And for more information, you can be sure to visit www.langstonseattle.org/SBFF. So next I want to talk about Rising Reels, which is a film camp which is geared towards youth of color. And I just really am passionate about like helping to mentor and to create the storytellers of tomorrow. But this is a great opportunity for youth. So please just either share it in your networks or you can, do word of mouth and talk right to any young people that you know, or you can donate. Now we're going to get into the interview with director Kevin Parkinson, and we're going to be talking with him about his latest film, which is Noxious 2 Cold Case. I definitely enjoyed talking to director Kevin Parkinson. Now it's time to hear his story. Hello, everybody. We are here with Kevin Parkinson, who is the director of Noxious 2 Cold Case and also Noxious 1, which was really, to me, both. I enjoyed both films. Even I can just relate this to Coming to America, even though they didn't come out 30 years plus in it, in between each other. But Noxious 1 is its own baby. Noxious 2 Cold Case is his own baby. But they do have a connection, right? So
Yeah.
after she, whatever, and then the plastic surgery, right?
Right.
Okay, so I got it then. Okay, cool.
Yes. Yeah. The
Hold
tagline
on.
for this movie is "Passion can be toxic," and the tagline for the second movie is "Before you disappear, do some good."
Oh yeah, I like both of them, but what I was talking about was, where is that shit? Excuse my language. Oh my God, please forgive me. But this goes right into.
It's a,
This
it's
goes
all
right into what I'm talking about. Okay, let me give you some context here. My name is Purpell Tremble. Nice to meet you, Kevin Parkinson,
Likewise.
director. Let's start out there.
A lot of times when you are making strides into the right direction, you get a lot of distractions. So I've done a little research on you, Purpell. I know that you are in between the ages of 36 and 28 because you never released a woman's.
Wait. You done research on me?
Absolutely. I'm not just going to go on anybody's show. You graduated from Howard University.
I love it.
You
Oh man,
live
I
in the
love
Seattle
it.
area. And Purple Reels is Watching was an ongoing vlog podcast style program that you're relaunching now with weekly episodic content where you interview filmmakers.
I want it to be weekly, but I'm doing monthly at the moment.
There we go.
And that is the goal.
Yes.
So we're here with Kevin Parkinson, the director from Bellflower, California. His parents were both Jamaican, but Kevin was born in Mount Vernon, New York, which I love New York. So we can talk, like we can relate. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yes. How were you introduced to film, my brother? Let our viewers know.
My father is somewhat of a film buff. He grew up in Jamaica watching a lot of movies, same as when he came to America. And so he would show my brother and I a lot of older movies when we were kids. So unbeknownst to him, he was giving me a master class on cinema my whole life. And it was in 1994 when he took my brother and I to see this movie called Speed, starring Keanu Reeves. I got a very well-rounded perspective of what the history of the world was, I think. You could watch a movie that's almost 100 years old and you could still relate with the humans in it. So no matter how much technology has changed, the plight of the story of being a human on Earth is relatively the same. And it really makes you think of things like the greatest people who've ever lived, like let's say Jesus. Even if for some odd reason the story of Jesus is fictional, it's a fascinating story about a guy who experienced a lot of prejudice, racism, bias, violence.
I
It's a
mean,
fascinating story, and the greatest of us today go through similar things. I mean, no one is going to be able to live up to that. But what a fascinating story. So it was my dad who introduced me to movies, and when I was about 13, my mother was going back to college at Dominguez Hills, a university in California. She took a film history course, and every single movie that was assigned to her in that course, she would rent from Blockbuster. We would watch it with her. And I remember one of her projects was she had to see a contemporary horror film and write an essay on it. So she took my brother and I to see this movie called Scream, directed by Wes Craven. And the whole semester, she had been teaching us these terms from the film world. And so she was able to communicate with us on a different level about cinema because she had been learning about it this particular semester. And when we went to see the movie Scream, with the gore and the slashing, my mother was talking to my brother and I. My brother and I were talking to her about what the director's motives were, what the character motives were. It was very, very fascinating. And I think it was just all a very blessed upbringing that I had. And I'm very fortunate to have the family I did, live where I was. It's kind of like that book, Outliers, where you start realizing that a lot of things that happen by chance are for your benefit, and it's only by the glory of God. So the cool thing about growing up in Los Angeles is that when you go home and watch television at night, you're seeing streets that are literally in your backyard. And you don't have the wherewithal as a kid to realize that other people around the world, and especially around the country, wish they were in the proximity that you were. And you kind of take it for granted, even. You're like, man, that's just downtown. But to some people, that's downtown Los Angeles, or that's the Hollywood sign. Like, wow. Every summer when I had family from New York or Jamaica come to visit, we would always take them to Hollywood. And unbeknownst to them, Hollywood literally smells bad. Hollywood Boulevard, there's trash, there's homelessness. When you grow up in Los Angeles, you understand that, but it's easy to forget that it's like being from California going to the Statue of Liberty. You're like, oh my God, this is amazing. But everyone who lives in New York is just the Statue of Liberty. So it's the same thing. So that is definitely a blessing.
I thought it was really cool that you created Shaw TV
Yeah,
at Shaw University, and not.
absolutely. The first episodic television program in the school's history. And it was not glamorous at all in the beginning stages. I got to university. I was blessed by my aunt and my father who asked, what is it that you need to be successful in college? I said, guys, I need an Apple computer. So my dad took me to the Apple store, and he and my aunt both put $1,200 together and bought me my first laptop. It was a white MacBook. I have it to this day. It still turns on, which is crazy. And unbeknownst to me, it was the lowest tier computer that Apple sold at the time. So many projects on that thing and pushed that thing to the limit in my dorm. And my sophomore year, I went to Sears in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I applied for a credit card. And I got one with a $300 limit. And I bought a small Panasonic camcorder. And I would go to the CVS, which is downtown Raleigh, and I would buy mini DVDs. And then there was a place called the Bears Den where students would congregate, and I would always release it on a Friday, and people would come down and watch the show. I was very blessed to have very good parents who reminded me of my blackness and reminded me of my greatness. It reminded me
Yes.
that you're black in America and you have to work very hard because no one's giving you anything. And when I was a kid, I was always referred to as Urkel. I was Steve Urkel growing up. So I would be teased a lot, but it was through my older brother and my parents that they showed me how to actually use that to my advantage and be prideful of who I was. So by the time I got to college, I remember I'll never forget. There was this guy named William Brock, and he let me work on his radio show because Shaw University used to own a radio station, and it was called The Blaze, 88.9 The Blaze, and every Saturday night for like 4 hours, we would play music, talk about current events. I was like his gopher, and he would teach me so much about things going on in the Raleigh area, and I love Will for that. Good guy. I remember one day Will saw me running across campus with a big suitcase, and this was a camera case. Our neighboring HBCU, St. Paul, had a film program, and I had to catch a bus downtown to get back to St. Aug on time to give my equipment back to the equipment lockout room, or else I'd be in
Right.
trouble for having it too many days. Remember Will, he said, yo, Kev, brother, nah, man, nah, you gotta be smooth, brother. Cause I'm a Poindexter. And he's like, nah, man, you can't be running around campus with that big old briefcase and camera gear. And I was like, you know what? He's absolutely right. I gotta be smoother than that. But all of that great positive affirmation that God blessed me to be born into a good family overpowered that and was like, nah, it's okay. And I remembered Will Smith in The Pursuit of Happiness
Oh man.
that all bummy running to get to his job interview. And for some odd reason, that just came into my mind, and I knew it was okay. It was gonna pay off. Looking goofy, doing all this film stuff, and it has.
And now you helped to give back, and then you took a position as a career advisor in Arizona.
Right,
I have family out there,
nice.
but who knows if you have family out there? But you took the risk. You have family out there,
Right.
brother?
No family.
Sorry, I just had to say.
No,
You
no
took
worries.
the risk. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and sound mind. I
Yeah,
did my research, brother. And
nice,
we can talk
nice.
about the transition from career advisor to Kingdom in the Valley Church, unless that was all together.
No, everything's connected. Everything's connected. So when I graduated Shaw University, I got a partial scholarship to attend the Savannah College of Art and Design in Georgia, and they have a Master's of Fine Arts program. And I matriculated through that program with the emphasis on directing. So after my 2 years there in Savannah, Georgia, I went back to California thinking, hey, I've got a master's degree. I'm only 24 years old. I got many doors slammed on my face, and I had the realization that in this field, it wasn't so much about a degree, but about experience. So I wasn't being very humble at the time, and it was my mother who convinced me to apply for a job with Goodwill or go to the Goodwill Career Center. Unbeknownst to me, I was going to the Career Center every single day, doing my resume, talking to the career advisors, and they actually saw in me that I could be a career advisor like them. So they had me apply for the job, interview. I got the job. I was placed in Hollywood. I was there for a year and a half. Then I was promoted to the city of Pomona. Then we lost funding after about 2 years. And that same week, I was given a call from Arizona. They said, Kevin, we're hiring here for the Goodwill in Arizona. We hear you're doing good things in California. Would you be interested? I said, let's do it. Right. So came to Phoenix, and I worked as a career advisor here for 3 years. And while here in Phoenix, I volunteered at Kingdom in the Valley Church on the video ministry team. So Ravon, who was the head of audiovisual, put my name in the hat to get a full-time videography job at Kingdom of the Valley, and it worked out. So that was a blessing. So I was at Kingdom of the Valley Church for another 3.5 years, and That was amazing to be at such a big church and to do nationwide work that aired on TBN weekly. That was amazing. I learned so much. And it was during that era of my life working in ministry, broadcast ministry, specifically Christian broadcast ministry, that I realized just because something is faith based or Christian does not give it the right to be mediocre.
I like what you said here that Christian media should not be mediocre. Rather, it should be the standard. And that's what I felt when I watched the movie Noxious 2, um, Cold Case. I mean, I didn't feel like, okay, yeah, I'm watching this independent film. I felt like, man, this is, this is great. I like the fact that it's a superhero, but it's
It
someone
is,
doing good.
right. It's
And
a superhero based on reality. And that
right,
was definitely my ideology when I was writing the screenplay. I thought I saw the character of Ruth with the name Ruth
and who
was
else? Who was
applicable.
Zachariah? Somebody was I heard Zachariah up there. I said,
Her boyfriend, the police wants to
I'm
story of
not
Ruth.
tripping then, right? Almost pretty much all of the characters have biblical names.
No, just Zachariah and Ruth.
Just okay, cool.
Yeah,
Okay. So you got Noxious, the first one, which was
yeah.
great. In my opinion, that was great too. But
I didn't write the first movie. I
oh, you
bought the
didn't write that
screenplay
one.
for the first. Didn't write the first movie.
So how
I
did that
wanted
go
to.
to where you ended up writing the second one?
Well, I wanted to. I always knew that I was a good writer, but for my first feature film, I wanted to make sure that I had a solid script. So I bought the screenplay from Marquise Mosley, who I went to grad school with. I saw that there were a lot of good ideas that could be brought out in the movie. Some things visually and weren't in the screenplay. For example, the multi-ethnic cast was not in the screenplay. That was what I saw as the filmmaker, how we could also show another uh, angle at this interesting story. But because that movie is more so rated R and has a scene of violence in it, I realized that it wasn't necessary to tell a story that way. I think I'm very grateful that Marquise gave me the screenplay that I was able to purchase it. But I'm actually more proud of the second film, not just because I wrote it, but because I think I was able to give something to the world more than just a really juicy, entertaining story. Right. So if you're listening to this before April 14th, you can watch the movie on Vimeo. Right now, my distributor is bidding at different platforms as to where the movie's going to land when we take it off of Vimeo. So it could be anywhere. We don't know right now. But on the 14th, if this is after the 14th, just Google Noxious 2. And if this is before the 14th, you can watch it on Vimeo.com.
Okay, I have 3 minutes. I'll just say 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So I really Purple Rails. This is Purple Trim or whatever. I really enjoyed that film because, for one, it's like it's not the regular Christian film where you're making me feel like I'm an alien because I'm a Christian. No, that's not like I did not feel that way watching Noxious 2, Cold Case. And there's somebody in here who looks like me. Oh yeah, I'm watching this. And
Absolutely.
I just really enjoyed it. It takes a lot for me to because there's so much that's put in my face, for me to,
And Purple, off camera, we mentioned that to all of our brothers out there, when you find a good woman who can cook golden lamb dishes, you should keep her. The
and
woman who plays Ruth is that woman for me who cooks golden lamb.
wait,
So
the woman
she
who
is
played Ruth in Noxious
fantastic.
1 or Noxious
Yes,
2?
Noxious too.
Noxious. Okay, so you see why I had to make the distinct. Wait,
I
wait.
see why you made the distinction.
So it's
I do.
the one that okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
like both movies though. Yeah, I appreciate you, brother, and I thank you so much for taking the
worry
time.
about it at all. I do want to leave you with this though. I want to say, as you are growing this new platform to interview filmmakers, uh, please know that you're doing a service for the community, especially as it comes to not just filmmakers of color, Black filmmakers specifically. I want to be very specific and say Black filmmakers because it is very important that there are professional, good journalistic integrity filled platforms that are giving us an opportunity to talk about our projects because Black people are not monolithic. We don't all want to make movies about the inner city. We don't want to make movies that are all about one thing. We have a very broad, expansive experience. So thank you for what you're doing. It's going to be amazing. To anybody watching, Noxious is spelled Noxious, and Noxious 2 Cold Case is out right now on
Yeah,
Vimeo.
I
Got to
right.
run. So thank you so much.
Everybody, let's thank him
Hey,
for coming out.
Purpell, God bless. Thank you so much for watching our film because movies are truly the most collaborative art form in the world. I mean,
Yes.
one person can sit at a computer and make a video game, one person can make a song, one person can make a painting, but you really need a lot of people around you to make a film. So
This is
thank you so much for watching our movie and everyone involved. So God bless and take care. And this ain't goodbye. See you later, Purpell.
all right, brother. Have a
All
great
right, you be
night.
safe. You take
Yes.
care. Thank you.
See you next time.